What to do with negative thoughts? Is it just me or is everybody getting this as well? How can I navigate myself out of this black hole instead of digging my hole even deeper? That's what today's episode is all about. Welcome to the Express Yourself podcast, where we record short and digestible episodes for you to inspire you to rethink your patterns and invoke inspiration and action for you to build better habits. My name is Claudia. You can also call me Clouds. And in today's episode, that's what we're going to do. We're going to dive into the depth of negativity in the best way. Before we start, I don't know what, but something just bit me right here in my eye. So just bear with me. I tried to make myself cute because it's getting bigger and bigger. But yeah, I'm not going to let the negative thoughts roll over. Hey, here's the connection to the topic and just go with it. So let's dive into why I came up with this topic. Well, just like every other human, I experience negative thoughts. What I've came to realize is that negative thoughts or thoughts in general do not mean that that is me. So you are not your thoughts. Thoughts are just an experience. And in most cases, we have been programmed to experience or think of something in a certain way. That doesn't mean, though, that that is us initially. Negative thinking, per se, happens a lot when we feel ungrounded, meaning when we don't feel present, when we feel distracted, when we're not 100% yet with ourselves. So, a moment where you might experience negative thoughts is first thing in the morning. You're waking up, and there are so many possibilities of how your day could go. Let's say you pick up your phone first thing in the morning and you distract your mind with the reality or the fake reality of somebody else. And you come to the conclusion that your life right now sucks. So negative thinking spirals start going crazy. Perhaps it's something else that is triggering this negative loop within you. Whatever it is, I want you to today just come into a place where you can distance yourself from making it personal and just listen to what I have to say. And if you can resonate with anything that I do say, and you're like, yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. If I detach myself from myself and my negative thoughts so that when they come up, I can use this thinking instead, then please do save this episode. Everything that I am saying is based on my own experience as a coach, as somebody who, again, also deals with negative thoughts, and from what I have researched, because I'm a very curious being, guys. I'm very curious. And I want to know what's going on. Why are we humans built that way? So, the number one thing, next to the fact that we all experience it, that I have come across is that, again, they do not define us, and it doesn't mean that that is us. I like to think of ourselves as a computer. So think of yourself as a computer with a bunch of different software. With time and experience, you have gained different softwares. And before your computer is running fully, so before you are grounded, you have done your stuff, you feel like yourself again. So before those softwares are on, you are a bit more, the word for it that I'm looking for is vulnerable. Yeah. So you're a bit more vulnerable for spam, for Trojans, for viruses. That is where it can be tricky. Negative thinking can be like a little virus that wants to come into your life and take over the software and be like, I'm gonna overrun this program that you so well have put into place in motion and just kind of do it the way I want. And I'm gonna color in your whole existence and reality into everything is dark and whatnot. So if we think of ourselves as a computer, and again, you detach yourself of making this too personal right now, and you just look at this. Okay, let me just think for a moment as a game. I'm a computer, and this is the software that I put in. How can I expect to run beautifully if there are viruses attacking me before my software is running? How can I expect that I will be able to function? Well, just like a computer, we need to have a protection. We need to have a shell, something that protects us from the outside and ensures that we are able to smoothly run up all those softwares that we have. Bringing this back into your reality, what could be a software in that case? Well, it could be your morning routine. It could be avoiding a certain thing, like opening up your phone first thing in the morning. It could be not giving too much weight into the opinion of other people so that you can stay with your own opinion and not let other people decide how you feel about something. It could be moving first thing first before you come into paralyzation, stagnation. It could be going for a walk because you know that software, that software gives you more energy instead of just sitting the whole day and immediately bringing yourself into this sedentary lifestyle, so that we call it. So sedentary lifestyle, for all my non-English speaker or not so well English speaking people here, means sitting. So anything that you do because you know it makes you feel good. Feeling good meaning it makes you run smoothly, it makes you feel grounded, it makes you feel present, is what you want to be doing to avoid the viruses of taking over. Now, taking away again that negative thinking is not necessarily the bad guy, it just happens, right? It's a thought, it comes in, but it also goes if we take care of it. I want you to take a moment, maybe you have a pen and a paper, and think of what it is that you normally do if a negative thinking pattern or just a thought comes, and in which occasions this normally happens. Does it happen when you're by yourself first thing in the morning, as I mentioned? Does it happen when you're surrounded by other people that make you feel inferior? So as if they are better than you, or they have just, a more opinionated persona. Does it happen when you're with your family? Where does it happen? Determine that and put that on a paper. I definitely recommend that. So that you can understand where you want to really activate that program, that software that you have instead to run the show smoothly. Now, bear in mind again that we all have different softwares, and perhaps you even encounter that, you know what, Claudia, when this happens to me, I actually don't have a good software that runs instead. And I just want to say that that's okay. It's amazing that you have just figured this shit out. If you have just figured out that, maybe right now I'm noticing that there's actually an invitation for me to build a better software, meaning a better habit, a better behavior, because I noticed that I'm lacking something there that could help me make sure that this virus doesn't take over. One thing that I have experienced today is this negative thought pattern. And I want to make sure that I mention this and I give you always a little bit of a personal experience, because this is how I literally experience the world. I always need to do everything by myself, meaning if somebody tells me don't put your finger in the fire, I have to put my finger in the fire. My human design coach would be very happy to hear that I'm quoting some human design over here. However, point being is I like to use my own experience as a reference, just to give you some other insights. So this morning I woke up and I knew already that today was going to be I wouldn't say challenging day, but a day where I'm not going to be performing on my highest level. I knew that I need to make sure that my software is running so that the viruses don't overrun me. The viruses being the negative thinking, yeah? Why did I know that? Because I already know that from doing this exercise, that when I am in a degraded state, meaning a state where I am not 100% myself, I will struggle with holding up my own voice towards my inner critic. And we all have this inner critic who loves to like chit chat and gossip and again give us those viruses kind of. On some days when we are in a degraded state, so a state where perhaps we haven't slept very well, which is my case, we haven't eaten very well, which is not necessarily my case, but could happen, right? Where we are in a space maybe where we come from this fight or flight mode because there was so much stress going on, and for like 2 or 3 days we had to just perform. We know then that as soon as we get out of this, what we need is recovery. And if we do not recover well, we're in a degraded state, right? We're kind of injured in another way than a physical matter. So knowing this, I already know everything today might have a bit more of a gray shade. And I take this into account. And I really, truly make sure that I run my software as smoothly as I can so that I get going, get into motion, get the things done that I really, truly want to get done, to not let the patterns, the loops that I do not want to run the show take over. So this is what I did. I woke up, I felt like not getting out of bed, and I was like, oh my God, why? I just want to stay in bed, but in less than an hour, I have a podcast, and I just want to cancel this podcast. Like, I just can't today. What I did then was like, I'm like, okay, girl, 3, 2, 1, get up. And I've taught myself this strategy. I think it's from the navies, where it's like, if your head wants to kick in, the loops, the viruses want to kick in, the inner critic is like, just tell them 3, 2, 1, and then actually do the action. And don't let the head do it. Actually go 3, 2, 1, go. And I did that. And I got up. I was like, okay, I'm up already. Let's get to the bathroom. Went to the bathroom, did my thing. And I take care of myself. I start to like, not right now with the newest laptops and computers, but you remember when you used to have to press the button, the power button, and then it took a while for the computers to start running. So I'm running up the programs, the software, slowly. And I'm noticing that I'm getting into my zone. Slowly, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling grounded. I'm not trying to rush here. Sometimes that happens, right? But then we can at least try to fix it on the way. I'm not trying to rush here. I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my face massage. I'm boiling some tea. Making sure I'm doing my small little mobility regimen, even if it's just 5 minutes, and I get going. And the day already looks so much different. After 30 minutes, I open my phone and I just make sure that the podcast is on the right time, that I don't have many crazy things here, so I can kind of prepare. Yeah. And really evenly distribute the energy that I have today, knowing that it's not going to be 100%. Maybe it's just going to be a 70%. And all I need in that matter is the action of showing up. Even if that means it's less, it's still something. And in most cases, again, putting yourself into action, into motion, instead of overthinking it, helps you not sabotage yourself. So to avoid self-sabotage, to avoid letting the negativity run the show, you want to provoke action. An action that is rewarding, an action that just makes you want to start. And I always say this also to my clients, like if they want to, for example, become fitter, we have to determine exactly what that means, right? And we break it down until it's really understandable what that means, fitter. What is your definition, right? And because you are not yet well trained and your software is not yet running to get you there, your software is used to doing something else. The negative thoughts, the inner critic will be probably a little louder because it doesn't want to do the damn thing. It doesn't want to change. Change is hard. Change is uncomfortable. So let's start with small little things and get used to it, right? So perhaps it would be provoking a tiny little action like putting on the shoes and leaving the house instead of saying you need to do 10,000 steps a day. But putting on the shoes and leaving the house is all that will, start bringing you into motion. Then you're there and you're like already running the program slowly of like, I'm leaving the house. I have shoes on, I'm leaving the house. What am I going to do? Am I going to turn back? No, you're not. You're just going to start walking. You're going to take one step after the other. And then you're going to see how many steps you're going to end up with. But you're moving. You're grooving. You're good. Little by little, you can change that software. So back to the negative thinking. So if you find yourself determining where those holes are, those black holes, you can say, understand what you do or when they do happen. So what do you do when this happens? What's the loop that happens after? How can you run better and smoother software in order for you to avoid this from happening over and over and over again? What could you have done instead? What was missing on that day? How can you train yourself to take different actions? How can you make sure this happens less? And how can you find, and that one is a really good one, how can you find acceptance and empathy for yourself and your situation? I want to get you out of this hustle mode and hustle culture. And I simply want you to start advocating becoming a disciplined person, because discipline is the highest form of self-love. But it doesn't mean, and that's what I want you to realize, showing up, aka discipline, doesn't mean it needs to look the same every day. It doesn't mean it needs to be 120%. It can also sometimes be 50%. It can also sometimes be a 20%. If you got 20 today, I'm good with that. But give yourself the 20. Don't expect to give 100 when you truly only have 20. But 20 is better than nothing. And that's the important part to realize. Realize this and find a space where you can have empathy for yourself. And as soon as you have determined what it is that sabotages you, the parts, the negative thinking parts, and what softwares you run with it, against it, towards it, the more you start knowing yourself and the more you can look the truth in the eye. And that's gold, because you will never change something unless you are really willing to change. And when we can accept the truth, and the truth is always internal realizations, meaning it's all me, it's all my experience, and it's never the outside. The outside might give me challenges, might be sometimes hard, right? Might sometimes be unforgiving, might sometimes be really tough on me. But in the end, it's all how I choose to go through the world and what I choose to do with that experience. Do I choose to stay in, for example, victim mentality? We're all victims of something, but it's a choice to stay in the victim mentality or using it as a strength to realize this is my truth. I realize what I do not want to be anymore. I do not want to be a victim anymore. I am going to change. I'm going to see how I can reprogram my software to run smoother, to use this as fuel. Yeah. That's what I want to leave you with today. I definitely want to keep continuing those episodes. And it's been a while since I have recorded anything. So I would completely understand if you're not aware of this episode. But if you are and you're watching or listening, because now there is also a video file. And since I made myself pretty, maybe you're looking at this. I would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment of appreciation and share this episode with somebody, or just let me know that this brought you something, because that's also something that we need to do more. We need to program ourselves more for gratitude and let people know in this whole world of online presence that their presence is important, that their presence has done something to us, has impacted us. So if this has impacted you, if this resonates with you, if this makes you think, I would love to hear from you. You can always reach out to me. You can reach out to me under Claudia's Nomadic Movement. That's my new Instagram name, Claudia's Nomadic Movement. And you can just send me a DM, or you can literally just respond to this episode right here, wherever you're listening to it. If you're listening on Spotify, there's going to be a function where you can respond. So I would love, love, love to hear from you. If you have any inputs, what you would like to hear me talk about in the future, let me know too. And I would absolutely appreciate it if you could rate this Spotify or whatever podcast with some beautiful stars. That would be absolutely amazing and help me out so much and give me the motivation to keep doing this. Because in the end, all we do here is serve you. I want to serve you with everything that I got. And I truly feel this could be an amazing medium for us to give you more. So thank you so much. Sending you Korean hearts in case you don't see it. And go ahead, do this homework and figure shit out. And if you want to share it with me, I'm all ears. Bye.